All right, we are recording again. The complainant has finished their adverse examination of Secretary Kevin Carr. That is his name. It's been a long time since I said his full name. So yes, Mr. Carr. And so we are now doing the respondent is going to do their direct examination, is what I understood. Is that correct? Or are you just doing clarification, Mr. Mullenbach?
At this point in time, I'm just doing clarification, Judge.
Okay. All right. So you might call him again.
Well, you know what? Let me just rephrase. I'll do the direct at this point in time. That's fine.
Okay. So I think we don't need him to want to come back. I'm sure he doesn't want to come back. So
Yes.
let's try to get him done. All right. Go ahead.
Secretary Carr, you testified earlier during this hearing that there was more than one disciplinary investigation that was started after the escape, correct?
Yes.
Was the investigation into Ms. Novak immediately started after the after the escape?
No. No, in fact, as I've stated earlier, once some internal affairs starts investigating a matter, they have the authority to follow the facts wherever it may lead. And initially, there was no reason to focus on Warden Novak at all.
Okay, so just a quick clarification question on that. Did you direct anybody, including Administrator Fesahaya or Internal Affairs, to investigate Warden Novak?
No, not explicitly, but again, as I previously indicated, when you're conducting an investigation and the evidence starts to point in a certain direction, you follow it where it needs to go, and that should include everybody, not just focusing on the line staff, if you will, and ignoring any issues pertaining to managers. It's just not fair.
Okay. And also earlier in your testimony, you had mentioned that you discussed with Internal Affairs investigations, and in particular, the investigation that resulted, or investigations that resulted after the April 16th, 2020 escape. Could you explain, are you directing Internal Affairs in those in the investigation, or what are those discussions, what do those discussions entail?
You're talking about as I get updated?
If that's what it is, yes.
Yes. During the course of an investigation that might go on for weeks or months, periodically, in fact, every 2 weeks, I have a meeting with the director of our internal affairs unit, and she updates me on the status of the investigations that they're conducting. And I don't provide any real direction. I'm merely being apprised of where they are. And one of the reasons that I'm interested is because in many of those cases, people are suspended with pay while they are out, and I want to be aware of whether we are conducting these investigations in as expedient a manner as possible.
Okay, thank you. You also mentioned earlier in your testimony that you have the ability to initiate disciplinary investigation at your discretion. Are there any standards that you follow in determining whether or not to exercise that discretion?
Yes, there are. And the basic standards that that are applied are guided by the civil service rules and basic common sense.
Is it also guided by the facts of the case and whether discipline is warranted or investigation is warranted?
Yes, it is. In fact, those are some of the most important factors is, what the facts reveal and whether or not those facts result in a disciplinary finding that's recommended to me for a disciplinary decision.
Okay. You mentioned that you began at the DOC in January 2019. Have you appointed any female wardens during that time?
Yes.
Do you have any rough estimate as to, is it more than one?
Sorry, objection relevance.
Judge, I think it's very relevant because this is
Standard
gender
goose
discrimination.
routine.
Second, okay, 1 second. Okay, you objected,
I'm
correct?
objecting on the grounds that it's relevant for the exact same reason that he objected on the grounds that it was relevant when I tried to ask a similar line of questioning. If it happened after the separation, then it's not relevant. According to his own argument, not according to me.
Mr. Mullenbach, do you have a response to that?
Yeah, I don't think that was my objection. And because this is a gender discrimination case, I think it's relevant as to how many females the secretary has appointed to leadership positions, including the warden position.
I don't remember specifically the objection now that you made and the question Mr. Cross was asking. This right now it seems relevant, but I'm not quite sure what the other context was. So you will have an opportunity then to ask these questions then again, Mr. Cross, after Mr. Mullenbach is done. So I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Secretary, do you recall the question or do you want me to repeat it?
I think the question was, have I appointed women to wardens positions since I became secretary?
That's correct.
Yes, I have. In fact, I believe I've appointed at least Jenny McDermott, probably 2 or 3 at least.
And have you appointed females to other leadership positions within the DOC other than the warden position?
Objection.
I'm not going to allow that. We're not going to go into that. Otherwise,
fair
we're
enough.
just going to be here forever.
Well,
My
we're
other-
gonna be,
my
Judge, we're
question-
gonna be here all day tomorrow because now that all these after acts after the separation are now relevant, we're gonna have a lot more questions to ask this person.
Okay, now I'm going to narrow it down right now. Okay, so Secretary Carr, when did you become aware of Miss Novak's complaint in this matter?
Oh, man. Several months after she retired.
Okay, so did you become aware of it when it was formally filed, or were you aware prior to the complaint being actually filed with the Equal Rights Division that there was a complaint regarding sex discrimination?
Normally, I'm informed by my Office of Legal Counsel when a matter of this type is filed, and that's how I would have been informed. I can't tell you exactly when.
Okay, I think everybody will agree for the record that this complaint was filed on January 21st, 2021 with the Equal Rights Division. So can you tell me of any woman that you promoted to a position as a warden prior to January of 2021?
I can't name who, but I believe I did, but I am not certain. I mean, I've made a number of promotions, both at the warden and deputy warden rank over the past 4 years. But
Mr. Mullenbach, can you ask any questions of Mr. Carr that would enlighten us on this issue of how many between before the date of January 21st, 2021.
Yes, Judge. Secretary,
Go ahead.
was Administrator Fesahaya in that position prior to the best of your knowledge? Did you promote Administrator Fesahaya to that position,
To what position?
to the administrator position?
I'm talking about warden position.
Oh,
The
well,
only one
Warden,
I'm
I think
allowing
we've
is
already,
warden position.
Warden, we've already covered. I can move on from there, Judge.
No. My question is narrow. I don't want to talk about any warden. If you can't remember when he promoted any of these wardens, then I'm excluding the testimony. The only testimony I will listen to and allow is testimony regarding any particular person, a warden who is a female who was promoted before January 21st, 2021, when Ms. Novak filed her complaint. Anything that happened after that, I'm not going to listen to.
Understood.
So do you have anything on that?
I do not know.
Okay, then that testimony is out of the record. I'm not going to listen to it. And, don't have any more any questions to ask about that, Mr. Cross. Go ahead.
Yes. So,
I'm sorry, just
Secretary,
to be clear, you meant Mr. Mullenbach is continuing, right?
Mr. Mullenweg's continuing. Yes, did I make a mistake and call it Cross? I was telling you, Mr. Cross, that you're not going to get to talk about it on your examination again in the future because I've just eliminated
I feel
that
that,
testimony.
I understand now. Thank you, Judge.
Okay,
That's fine.
go ahead.
Secretary Carr, you had talked about a January 22nd, 2020 meeting that you had with the Forum for Understanding Prisons. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
Was Ms. Novak in attendance at that meeting?
No, she wasn't.
Was Ms. Novak scheduled to be reassigned to the warden of the Red Granite Correctional Institution at any point in time?
Yes, she was.
Do you recall when that was?
That was to take place in the spring of 2020. In fact, I think the decision to do so had been made prior to the escape in April. But as we all know, in March of 2020, the pandemic ensued. So we delayed the movement of several wardens, including Warden Novak, for several weeks. And the reason that Warden Novak was being moved is based on the experience that I had with her in November of 2019. She had come, my understanding based on what I've been told was that she had been promoted in 2018 from a medium security facility and really had no experience as a warden in a maximum security facility. And when she got to CCI, and experienced the incident that occurred in November of 19, where an officer was seriously injured. She was rather emotional, and I had expressed to her my desire to help her any way I could, and even offered that I was thinking about transitioning CCI from a maximum security facility to a medium, which she thought was a really good idea and strongly supported. In fact, we engaged in several planning efforts to see, determine the feasibility of converting CCI from a maximum to a medium. But for a number of physical plant reasons, we weren't able to do so.
Okay. And it was your decision to reassign her to the Red Granite Correctional Institution as the warden?
Yes, I thought she'd be more comfortable there because she had a lot of experience at working in medium security facilities.
And you had mentioned that you discussed at least one serious staff assault that occurred at Columbia Correctional Institution. I believe you said in November 2019. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Was Ms. Novak investigated for potential discipline after that incident?
No,
Was she placed on administrative leave after that incident?
no,
Was she disciplined after that incident?
no.
Judge, can I ask you to pull up Respondent's Exhibit number 27 for me, please?
All right, 1 second. Said 22,
27, please, Judge.
27, okay. All right, 1 second. Going to do my log. And could you tell Mr. Cross where this is in your from your revised documents so that he can find it in the ones that he has?
Yes, I believe it was actually the new number 36, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, the new number, I got
Oh,
your
I'm sorry.
documents up, your old ones.
The old, yeah, I think it's the old number 36.
So it's the
But
current,
mine ends at 34, so that dog won't hunt.
It was sent in a separate email, Attorney Cross.
Oh,
yes, I do recall there being a separate email with.
this is
response
the
exhibit
document I
36.
think that he signed, we discussed at the pre-hearing that although it wasn't, late.
Can you speak
or
up
was
louder,
late,
please?
we
I'm
didn't
having
object.
trouble hearing you.
Sure.
Speak up.
I'm just trying to be clear, though. This was a document that wasn't submitted with the original witness list. It was added on afterwards. And we discussed this at the pre-hearing, and I don't think we objected. Does that all sound right, Mr. Mamba?
I don't know if we specifically discussed it at the pre-hearing, but you didn't raise any objection at the pre-hearing. But I said any final rulings would be made at the hearing today. So we're on response exhibit 27, which used to be apparently response exhibit 36, which was not sent in at the same time. It was sent in later.
Okay.
And on this document, it's on page 1208. The cover page starts on that document. And it goes to, well, the end of the document, which is 1210. So it's not that long.
All right.
Okay. Did you find the document? It was emailed by Miss Reniker, if I recall.
No, we have no opposition to this, Judge. We can't wait.
All right, so we're on what is now Respondents Exhibit 27. Okay, let's share the document. So you want to admit it? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I just want to ask a few questions.
Yeah, with
No,
I'm gonna ask a few
super
questions of
special
Mr. Carr
secret
at this
sauce,
point.
Judge. And maybe extra cheese.
Okay, so that is, yes, I would like it admitted, and I assume Mr. Mullenbach wants it admitted, correct?
Yes, I would like to ask Secretary Carr a couple of questions.
Okay, we'll just, I just have my log up now, and I wanted it just to do with the admission if we're not going to have a problem with it. Okay. All right, 1 second, now we will, share the document. All right, so I have Respondents Exhibit 27, which is an email dated May 3rd, 2020 from Sue Novak to Secretary Kevin Carr. Is that the document that you thought we were looking at, Mr. Cross? Yes, Mr. Cross? You're muted. I can't hear you
I'm
at all.
sorry. Yeah, but no objection. Let's get it in.
Okay, so that has been admitted now, but you can still do the foundational information, so we have it for the record. Go ahead, Mr. Mullenbach.
Yeah, Judge, if you could just scroll down a little bit, I mainly want to focus on the first email in this string. That one right there.
This one?
Well, yes, unfortunately it spans both pages, but yeah, if you could just
So
stop.
we're
there
on
for-
page 1209. Go ahead.
Yes. So Secretary, do you recognize this document?
Yes,
What do you recognize it to be?
an email from Sue Novak to me,
And what's the date of this document?
May 3rd, 2020.
And is this a true and accurate copy of the email that you received from Ms. Novak?
Yes,
Okay, and in this document, it looks like, well, let me ask you this. In this document, does Ms. Novak raise some concerns that she had with her supervisor, Doug Percy?
okay, let me read the document.